Hey guys, Miss A. Today we're going to go over some proportional reasoning questions. We're going to make some WKUs to go over some word problems that kind of go with your choice board activities. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so on the choice board, we're looking at the proportional reasoning section, all the ones with C, C1, C2, and so on. The questions I'm going to be looking at today, or going over with you today, kind of focus more on C2. That's how I came up with my examples. I kind of built off of these questions here. Okay, so this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is the WKUs, our proportion problems, the percentages, all that stuff that we're dealing with today. And we're going to see a lot of word problems. So here's the first one. I have here that students at ISMS were surveyed and asked about their favorite type of pizza. 100 students said bacon, 200 students said pepperoni, 170 students said cheese, and 30 said they don't like pizza at all. What percentage of the students chose cheese as their favorite type of pizza? Okay, so first of all, we've given a lot of information here. We were given, let's see, we were given the number 100 represented bacon. We were given 200 that represented pepperoni. 170 said cheese, and then 30 said they don't like pizza. Okay, so I'm going to start by writing that information down here so we have it just in one spot. So 100 equals bacon. 100 is bacon. Let's see, 200 equals pepperoni. Did I spell it right? Pepperoni. Yeah, I'm a math teacher, guys, not English. The next one was 170 equals cheese. And then 30 equals don't. They don't like pizza. They don't like it. Okay, so there's our data. We've got 100, 200, 170, and 30. That's all the information that was given to me here. And then the question wants to know what percentage, so we know we're solving for a percent of something. What percentage of the students chose cheese as their favorite type of pizza? So the only thing we know about cheese pizza is that it's 170 chose cheese. But we cannot say that the percentage is 170 because if we remember, a percentage is always out of 100. So now if there were 100 kids, if only 10 like this and 50 like this and 40 like this, then we could say, okay, whatever the number is, that number is a percent. But there's not 100, there's way more than 100. So first of all, let's figure out how many students we have all together. So we're going to add all of these up to get the total. Right now we just know individual. So here we get 2, 3, 4, 5. So 500 total students were surveyed. And we want to know of those 500, if there were 500 total, we want to know what percentage of them chose cheese. So we know the number that chose cheese was 170. So what we're going to do here is we need to figure out what this value is as a percentage. So there's several different ways we can do that. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do it on these examples today. But you also could simply just change this into a decimal, change your decimal into percent, and be done with it. Like we've done a couple videos over before. So you could always go that route. But what I'm going to do is actually set up a proportion. What I do is set up a WKU, a word ratio, known ratio, and unknown ratio for this problem. Because I think that's a little bit, not easier, but it's a way you can organize your information and make it a little bit more clear. So we're going to set up a WKU. Again, the W stands for my word ratio. So my word ratio is, what am I solving for here? I'm solving for the percentage that chose cheese. So that's my numerator. And I want to know what is that percentage out of the total number of students. So cheese out of total. The K stands for our known ratio. That's basically what we just wrote here. I know that 170 chose cheese and there were 500 total students. So we're going to put 170 on top and 500 on the bottom. If we were talking about bacon and cheese, we would put the 100 over the 500. If it was pepperoni, 200 over 500. If it was don't like, 30 out of 500. So we know 170 chose cheese out of 500, and the question is asking for what percentage. So the U stands for unknown ratio. Something over here is going to be unknown. And when we don't know something in math, we use what's known as a variable, which in this case, we're going to use the letter X, but it could be any letter you want. The value we don't know is the cheese. We do not know what percent chose cheese, but I do know that a percentage, the total, has to be 100%. So anytime you're solving for percent, anytime it says what percent, you're definitely going to put X over 100 because the percentage is always out of 100. So once I know this value, I can get my answer. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do cross multiply and divide. So right here is my proportion. 170 over 500 is equal to X over 100. I'm going to rewrite that important proportion over here to the side. So 170 without all the words and everything. 170 over 500 equals X over 100. So what we're going to do to solve this proportion for this example is we're going to cross multiply and divide. So when we cross multiply, we're going to circle these two. Those are the two that we're going to multiply because it says cross multiply. And then we're going to divide by this lonely guy over here by himself. So multiply those and then divide by 500. So when I multiply 170 times 100, a little trick here would be you can literally knock off those zeros. You could just do 17 times 1. And because all these zeros are here, you can just put 1, 2, 3 zeros in your answer. So you get 17,000. So 170 times 100 is 17,000. And now we're going to divide by that last number of 500. So one thing I am going to do, because I don't really want to divide by 500, I'm going to, because there's zeros here and there's zeros here, we can basically simplify the division problem. What I'm basically doing is I'm dividing both numbers by 100. Dividing by 100 is the same thing as just crossing off two zeros. If I cross off 2 here, I have to cross off these 2. Now, these zeros have to be in the same place value. Now, if there was a 5 right here, I could not cross off any zeros. But because these are in the 1s and the 10s place, and this 0's in the 1s and the 10s, I can cross them off. It's, like I said, dividing by 100. So those are gone. Now my problem is 170 divide by 5. Much smaller problem to work with. So we're going to go into it. 5 goes into 17 3 times, which is 15. Subtract, we get 2. Bring down your 0. I'm running out of paper. 5 goes into 24 times. Oops, sorry, ran out of space. So I got a remainder of 0, so I can stop. So my answer is 34%. Chose cheese. 34% chose cheese. Okay, so we put a WKU, 170 out of 500 chose cheese. We want to know what percent, so we put X over 100, and then we just cross multiplied, and then we divided. Okay, cross multiply and then divide. And then all my work there. All right, so there's the first one. That's the cross multiply and divide way. All right, guys, I had a little bit of a problem. I made a video with all 3 examples, and it was a little bit too long. So I'm having to go back and make it into 2 videos instead of 1. So this video that you just watched with example number 1 is going to stop here. And then there will be a part 2 with examples number 2 and 3. All right, so stay tuned for that. Bye, guys.